ladies and gentlemen, to episode 41 of the Glory Days podcast, the Perth Glory podcast that has more fan interactions than actual Perth Glory. We're back here with another episode, another loss. Shock, I know. Absolute shock and horror.
Who saw that coming?
We've lost again. No Will this week. I heard his treacherous and slanderous comments last weekend. I've shipped him off to the shadow realm, basically, so you're not going to see him for a while.
Comments about Alex Papali'a.
Absolutely. We can't be having that. If it's on David's Village, that's fine, but if it's on me, we can't be having it, lads. Anyways, quite a bit to get through today.
Yeah.
We're discussing our first A-League women's game of the season. I know we touched briefly on the Wanderers game last week, but
since we were present, and then Josh decided to join us in the second half.
Mate, it's not my fault. Football. I'm employed, all right? I couldn't get there till the second half.
Well, to be fair, you were in the same boat as pretty much everyone, because that was a deplorable crowd. But we'll touch on it more when we discuss the game. But it's like the girls deserve far better than playing 4 o'clock on a fucking Friday.
And that's going to be a big discussion for us today.
A double header if you're just going to like...
We'll get into it because we've got to we've got quite a bit to get through here.
So we had a lot of fan comments, actually. So once again, we had more than Glory on Twitter, but probably because we asked for people's thoughts and people wanted to go whooshka. So, John Richardson. Actually, there's just almost like deliriums from Johnny, so we'll just kind of leave that.
What?
Georgie Shandor and Joya.
No, read it.
You got to read out John Richardson.
He said nothing on the bench. He said Shambles FC and Lone Striker.
I mean, Shambles FC, he's not exactly wrong.
No midgets, though, so I'm kind of disappointed.
I'm curious as to what he meant when he said that last one. I thought he meant mentality midgets, but
I don't think so. Okay. So Georgie Shandor and Joya, he said, I'm at work, so I only saw bits and pieces. I feel like the goal we considered has happened to us so often. Eli Adams a few years ago is exact. An Amos Lawrence and Sutton injection can't come soon enough. Nick, he said, the game should have been over within the first 30 minutes again. I agree to that. JNB91, he said, winning is a habit, as is losing. A lot of the squad at the moment only know how to lose. From what I managed to watch, there is a real lack of cutting edge and too many players ball watching in defensive phases instead of stepping forward towards an attacker to take the ball.
I want to touch on that briefly because I think that's a great sort of...
It's a fantastic point.
Fantastic point to touch on. Losing is a culture, as is winning. All right?
Yep.
Playing for a big club does not automatically mean that your culture is winning. I think we can see that, and I know a bit of a piss take, I'm going to touch on it, but Manchester United, you look at their culture recently and how they've gone from... They're still a massive club, but how their culture in the last decade
it's almost
has shifted from being one of the, if not the biggest club in the world, to being that of a mid-table club.
But let's even add more context to make it more relevant to Glory. It doesn't matter who the manager is. It doesn't matter who the players are. Sometimes there's institutional issues that I think are particularly relevant.
So the question now is, what do we do to fix those issues? Because we've sacked Dave.
Yeah.
And we've seen that in terms of performance, we've seen a little bit of a bounce back. It's improved. We play better football now.
We have,
but we're still not winning games.
Well, save your ammo because we'll smash that towards the end.
Believe me, I have plenty of it, James. Don't worry.
But I think it's an important point, and I think it's one that a lot of Glory fans have been talking about now. Not even this season, but for a long time. Because again, I wrote an article recently. Oh, shock! James wrote an article. But
did you?
We've had 135 games, I think, since the 2020-21 season, and we've won 29 of them.
That's a win rate, right?
It's like 22% pretty much.
Yeah, just over 20%.
So it's like we don't know how to win. And I replied to someone at the end of the game, and I said, because it sounds stupid, right? We don't know how to win, but it's like we don't know how to win. We genuinely don't know how to win. So we'll move on to a few more. So Sean, he said, we didn't capitalise on chances and dominance in the first half. Set pieces in the final ball lacking, and I feel the defenders on the goal didn't pick. He was a left footer. He found room way too easy. Daniel, in 15 years of supporting the club, I've never felt as low and despondent as today. Bozanovsky was by far our best player, advancing the ball from centre mid. However, the damage of his driller ball can still be seen with the long balls and inability to generate shots once in the final third. Wooden spoon ×4. BK Phantom. Not so much about the game, but met Amos in the members lounge after the game, and what an absolute legend we have in our squad. Took time out of his day to chat with us. He said he's expecting to be back next month. Bozanovsky was absolutely the best player on the park last night, in my opinion. Lachlan. I mean, we played so well in the first half, then the second half it felt like our final ball was lacking a bit, and once again, when we played well enough to get a result, we still managed to mess it up. Yep. Dancenzo, he said, that game was there for the taking. Missed passes, missed shots, taking one too many touches. Mariners left holes everywhere, and we just couldn't link it all together. And Taggart usually scores those chances he's had. It gives me hope with the quality players out. Stompy, oh boy, is it a big job for the new coach. There's just no creativity. Even with Lawrence and Kaczarski back, we still lack one more player with that creativity and final ball. Sutton's return should hopefully give more going forward too, and drop Brisbane as a result. I disagree with that last part. Ethan, didn't know the ball could only enter the box in the air. Ben Walsh. Oh, here we go. Bulgaria is dead set the worst player I've ever seen. Don't even know if he's any good. He's just so uninterested, nor has the capability to be in the right spot. Risdon can't kick the ball off the ground. Long balls to Taggart's runs towards the near post for a flick is pointless. Shamoon and Reece Bozanovsky player of the match, and Timmins looked good. Luke. I do not care if we had a couple of decent passages of play in the first half. What matters is the points. We are a way bigger club than the Mariners, and mediocrity should not be tolerated. The fans deserve so much better, and so disappointing to see players like O'Neill laughing after. Lachlan, I honestly don't even care. I mean, we should have been 2 or 3-0 up at half-time, and the game being put to bed, Risdon was solid, Bozanovsky was good. Nothing else to say, really. I don't even want to go to our next home game. I'm down for the club to fold. And then Ethan had a football manager still shot from training, so it's all the focus from Monday through to Sunday. Chance creation, and then defending as a team. So, good to see a football manager reference there.
I mean, hey, it worked for Will still. Maybe we can get Adam Griffiths on some football manager training courses.
Yeah, potentially. Ethan, Bozanovsky played well. James Andrew, Risdon is rubbish. We had an Auckland fan. And I disagree with that.
I thought he had a good game.
He did. American Knights, we somehow have an Auckland fan giving us some feedback. He said, we send our deepest sympathies, Glory Days.
You know what?
With a hint of irony and sarcasm.
Thank you very much. I'm happy you guys beat the Phoenix. I'm very happy you guys beat the Phoenix.
Matthias, I love this, man. Please appoint new coach. If they fuck up appointing the next coach, they might never see a crowd above 5K again. There was just no energy in the stadium. And then the last few one from Jordan, he said, these last 2 games have been quite solid in terms of how we played. We won possession in both games. We looked the more threatening side. The only thing we are missing is our injured players. I do still believe this team can make finals with a full squad available.
I think that's more reasonable, to be honest. I mean, I think a full team can make finals with a good manager. I mean, we'll touch base later.
That's the important thing though. It's with a good manager.
Yeah, because I think Griffo's no doubt a good coach, and we'll obviously touch on this more towards the end. But it's like
there's a good coach, and then there's a good manager.
We need at this point someone that is going to walk in with a bit of a sledgehammer and kind of fuck shit up.
Yeah.
But in a positive way, do you know what I mean? Like in the sense of that, in the same way when Popper came in 2018, it's not like we were performing badly under Kenny Lowe, but it's like we needed that extra drive and that push and that method so that we could go from dreaming about playing finals football and winning trophies to actually winning trophies and finishing on top of the table.
The thing is, though, right? The reason I say that there's a difference between a good coach and a good manager, personally, to me, is that a coach is someone who, one-on-one, when talking to a player or when looking at maybe a group of players, like 3, 4, 5 players, you can look at them and you're like, I entrust this coach to them. He's going to work with them. Yeah. He's going to improve them so much. He's going to, really like drill in the fundamentals. But a manager, for me, is someone who, on game day, you put out there for 90 minutes, whatever happens, he's there. He's reactive. He's reading the game. He knows what's going on. He's picking the teams. He's reading the situations. He's adjusting. How long has it been since we've actually had a good manager? Because you can argue Stadge, right?
But even
my thing with Stadge is that he's very stubborn and not very reactive.
Yeah.
The last good manager we've had is Popper.
That's it.
And since then, Richie Garcia, good coach, as we've seen.
Well, he's
very
with
good
the,
technical director.
With the assist, he's assisting the
assistant for the Olyroos.
Yeah.
And very, very good director of football, as we've seen with Olympic Kingsway.
Yeah.
He's done fantastic there. We've had
Zadkovic,
good
disaster.
coach, but just tactically not great.
Yeah.
David Zrilic, fantastic coach at Sydney, assistant coach, great, as we've heard, at working with individual
when we wanted to
passengers.
expand his
Exactly.
remit, yeah. So
It just can't do the large part. And even when you look at Griffo, I don't want to make any judgments on Griffo yet because
it's too small of a sample size. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we've heard absolutely.
We need a bigger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. But even with the small sample size we've had with Griffo, phenomenal things that we've heard from him as a coach, from players, from staff, from journalists.
But that wasn't really our concern though. It's like
No, not at all.
I think we kind of need that head coach to kind of change things and kind of because we'll discuss this more in a little bit. But I don't think, as a final point, after 2 games, you're sacking your head coach who you weren't really sure about backing to begin with, to only end up with the assistant. Josh, do you have any thoughts on it? Or?
Yeah, I think nothing against Griffiths personally, but and I'd love to give him a go, but I think our situation's a little bit different now. Like we can't afford to mess this up again.
Yep.
Like we need to bring in an experienced head coach now to show to the fans that give them belief, because I feel like that's at a rock bottom right now.
The thing is as well, it goes back into the whole thing of the culture of losing. You can't change a culture of losing if you don't have a proven winner in that squad, in and around that squad, driving the team forward. Because sure, we've got players in this squad that have won things before. Brandon O'Neill.
You have got plenty of winners in the squad.
You've got players that have won things before, sure. But do you have any serial winners? Do you have any guys in this squad that are like, no, fuck that, we're going full tilt, full pelt, balls to the wall.
Yeah.
We're winning games. No mediocrity allowed. We had that under Popper, and we saw the levels that we achieved.
Yep.
But since then, what have we actually had?
No,
What have we actually had?
we've-
We've had Stadge, who's good mentally, but he's stubborn and isn't really a serial winner.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I
so
do.
even a good coach, a good coach.
I still think Satch got the best out of the boys.
Well,
the
that's
squad he had.
and again,
For the
we'll
squad he had,
touch because that's a great point, because I am going to bring that up again towards the end. We did just want to touch on the women's game because
Yes.
we were there for the whole game, and then you rocked up second half. Whichever fuckwit at the APL or at Channel 10 decided to go, yep, we're going to have a women's game at 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon when it's fecking hot. Give your head a wobble just to make sure something's there, because that was even when we saw the fixtures come out. I mean, I've got no problem with a double header, because it's like, if you want to make an afternoon out of the football on, let's say, a Saturday or a Sunday, fantastic, because we've seen in the past these double headers work. Some people are for them, some people are against them, but it's like, if you're going to have them, give the conditions for both teams so that you're going to get the most fans rocking up to both games, rather than, oh shit, the women's game is on, but it's at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
They don't deserve that, particularly after the first game that they had against Western Sydney, where they won. And when we were sitting at the game, we were boiling our ass off. But the embarrassing thing was, there was fucking no one there.
Works if it's on a Saturday, not a Friday. Because
Absolutely.
100%.
I mean, a lot of our fixtures are on Fridays, and I think that's why we've had the slightly lower attendance. I know Victory, we had Halloween, but
Yep.
it's a lot harder for people to make a 6:45 kickoff on a Friday than it is on a Saturday.
100%.
But even still, at 4 o'clock.
The thing as well, right, is that you can tell that there's at least, obviously not as much interest in the women's team as in the men's team, but there is interest there. And the fact of the matter is, that game with the women's team finished about, let's say, an hour before the men's game started.
50 minutes, probably.
Roughly 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Even towards the sort of midway point of the second half, which would have been like an hour and 10, hour and 20 before the men's kicked off, the crowd attendance from the start of the game tripled or quadrupled, which means people are at least subconsciously saying, let's get to the men's game a bit early and we'll catch the end of the women's game there.
Yeah.
There's an interest there to at least attend the double header.
Yeah.
My problem is, I know they want to cater to the fans in the East because, we don't want the people in Melbourne to miss the game between the Glory and Central Coast Mariners. It's like,
The time
exactly.
Fine, it's just to have it on a Saturday.
exactly.
Yeah,
And the
can't
thing
be on
is,
a Friday, yeah.
Exactly. You should not be catering a late kickoff or a doubleheader, you should not be catering it to fans of the away team. That makes no sense at all.
Or just
cater
a
it to the home
standalone,
fans.
scheduling it on a Friday.
No, but even then,
During a
I
work
don't
day.
mind. I don't mind a Friday night game. I agree with you. You should not be having double headers on a Friday, because the fact of the matter is, you've got people that go to school. You've got people that work that aren't going to be able to get to the grounds until at least 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
So why the hell are we even considering booking a game, let alone a doubleheader starting from 4 o'clock when it is boiling hot?
Yep.
I had the pleasure of speaking to Susan Fontenkamp after the game, doing an interview with her. But even she agreed, and that the weather was really hot and that it played a factor into the game.
I was in a sauna up in the stand.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I was sweating my balls off there, man. It was outrageous.
And that probably played into the game a little bit, because it was pretty end to end. No side really dominated the ball. The thing that pissed us off ridiculously was the refereeing.
Oh, the refereeing was awful.
And it's like, it was just blatantly one-sided. And I know it's probably a bit of sour grapes on our end, saying, oh, well, we lose a game, of course you're going to blame the referee. But the differential in free kicks, right? You ready for this?
Yep, let's hear it.
Perth Glory had 4 free kicks.
Yep.
Brisbane Roar, you ready? 17. That much of a discrepancy is fucked.
And
Absolutely.
I think it was their second or third goal. I know it's
Didn't really cross the line. Didn't really. I don't think it did. I don't think it was conclusive.
I don't think it did either.
I think in terms of how we played, look, Brisbane's first goal, the deflection, you can't really do much about that. Roller battle Weir.
What a finish from her.
I was like, is she available after the game to play for the guys?
Yeah.
Because she scored as many goals as the guys have all season.
Yeah.
In 2 games that we have in 4.
Yeah.
So it was a fantastic goal, great turn. And I think we tried to be the side that was looking to create more chances. I don't think we really took control of the game that well in the first half. Second half, was just sloppy. For those 2 goals that we conceded. Jansen, I think her name is. The first one where kind of dinks over to the back post, sloppy. We got to get that shit out of our game. And then the second goal, or the third goal, I should say, bit inconclusive as to whether it was over the line. And then Ella Lincoln scored in added time. I went to go to the loo, and then I heard and I was like, oh, maybe I need to go to the loo more often. I'm a bit of a bad luck charm at the moment. So I think, and then Josh, obviously, if you want to give your thoughts, that's cool. If not, all good. But Alex, I think from what we saw from the entire game, it was like there was positive intent from the players, but I think execution was probably lacking. I
don't think it helped as well that we were obviously looking a lot to hit on the counter with the poor refereeing. How many stupid soft fouls broke up the actual speed of the game. And for the people at home that are going to say, oh, well, 17-4, that obviously means that the Glory just gave away too many fouls. No. Because a lot of these were, and I'm going to touch on it here, all right? And I feel like I'm somewhat qualified to touch on it, considering that I was a referee for 6 years. And I still referee games. I've refereed at the National Futsal Championships and stuff like that. I know what I'm talking about to a relative degree, okay? The standard of refereeing in this country is so incredibly poor. And this isn't like a male referee versus female referee type thing, because this is simply down to the fact that both male and female referees in this country are clueless. And I think this goes right down to the fundamental basis of the local state sort of bodies are not doing enough to educate referees.
How about we blame the FA for setting the rules to begin with?
No, I'm not going to put this on the FA, because the thing is...
we debated about this with the VAR,
the thing is, though, with football rules, it is always going to be difficult, because at least with basketball, right? At least with basketball, it's like, oh, there's contact here, that's a foul. Baseball, oh, there's something here, that's a foul. With football, pretty much every single law, apart from ball crosses line equals something and, this and that, everything is down to grey area. Everything is in a moral grey area, okay? With red card decisions, even with the concept of VAR being that it doesn't always intervene, but it can. It is, but it isn't. It's Schrodinger's rule. Like, It's ridiculous. Everything in football is in a grey area, which means that the consistency of your referees has to be top notch. Because if it's not, you're going to get huge discrepancies. And my main issue is the simple fact that I think we're genuinely forcing a lot of referees into the league that have no right to be qualified. I forget the name of the female referee that
Casey Rybelt.
Casey Rybelt.
Yeah.
She is hands down the worst referee I've ever seen in the A-League. And this is not
it's not a gender based.
No, it's not. This is I would never do she's a woman so she sucks thing. Like I've educated plenty of female referees myself. I've seen plenty of good female referees coming up through the ranks. But she is awful. The amount of times that we've had at our game specifically and in the A-League just in general where she'd give a foul and then give a yellow card to the player that just got tackled. It's happened at least I've seen it in person at least twice, and I know it's happened more times than that because I've watched games where it's happened.
I think
and it happened again in this game, in this Brisbane game.
Yeah.
The referee watched a Glory player get fouled and then gave a free kick to Brisbane. And she did it twice in the same game.
Yeah. But I just think, more broadly about referees, I think if you want to have a higher standard, then it also has to be made more affordable in terms of being a profession.
Exactly.
So
but another thing is that you can't bring it up to that level of being affordable profession if you can't even get professional standards with it. That's why you can't.
The league's struggling financially as well.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's
but this is more than just the A-League and the A-League women's. This is fundamentally down to the governing bodies. This is Football West, Football New South Wales, Football Victoria, Football Queensland. Like the refereeing education system is shit. It's been shit for so long. No, but
you can, but
you can't, because in general you go to a lot of other countries and their refereeing education systems are really good.
But are they producing as good a referee? Because it's like you look at the UK,
the countries,
the
UK, their education system.
The UK, how many times have we watched a Premier League game? I know it's a bit of a Euro stuff now, but has there been bitches about the refereeing standard?
I will say, I think the refereeing standards for the Premier League are not great comparatively to a lot of other top leagues. But the reason I think for that is that the Premier League is always the first to jump at new changes, and it makes it really hard for referees. The thing that people don't understand is that every season there's changes, and what sucks about that is because every season you're having to change your fundamental understanding of what is what. And since everything is a grey area, you go from adjusting yourself to one set of grey areas to another set of grey areas, which means it's increasingly difficult to be able to actually be consistent. And that's why I see people be like, oh, but this wasn't a foul last season. Well, yeah, but the rules have changed since then. And look, this is just back to my regular point of refereeing education not being good.
Yeah.
The governing bodies, the state governing bodies for football in this country need to do more to actually offer proper education for young referees. I don't give a shit about these 60-year-old fucking slobs that sit in the halfway line and walk around Sunday league games. I don't care about them, to be honest. Game can't run without them. Great, whatever. Let them walk around in the circle with their fucking bloated
bring it back to the game.
But the young
this game.
No, this relates.
Right.
Young referees need to be better educated, because we're never going to get good referees in this country if we continue to allow mediocre slop to referee the good games. We can't have that.
But let's bring it back to the game, because for as much as the refereeing was poor for the girls, I just think crucial errors, and it kind of overlapped over to the men's game, which we'll get into.
I just thought
But I just think there were some good parts to how we played, but then I think the part that we were also lacking, because you can also say the refereeing stopped our transitions, but also because I think the conditions obviously would have had to have played a part. There were times where we did get the ball and we were wanting to break, and then it's like, hold on, where's the width? Where's the runners that are going forward? So there are a few players that came off injured, I think.
There was Gabby Holt with cramp.
No, for the women.
Oh, for the women.
Yeah. So Roller Battleware, I think she had something on her foot. Gabby Holler, I think she had a thing on her ankle. I could be wrong.
She came off at halftime, right?
Yes. Yeah. So, I just think it was a disappointing game. We probably should have come away with it with something. But,
From the second half that I saw, I personally think, I think I mentioned to you, I saw some good moments.
Yep.
But just the other, I'd say 30 minutes of that second half, they just didn't they
didn't have the
get things
polish.
flowing.
Yeah.
But then the last 10 minutes they turned things on.
Yeah.
It was just too late.
Yeah, probably should have had that equaliser when Zog had the header and then missed it from point blank. So they'll move on. They've got Sydney FC away next week. They're still third on the table, so that's a positive. So, yeah, great game, but it should have been played at a different time if we wanted to do double headers, because otherwise that concept, the optics were
just a different day.
different day. Yeah. Because it was just shit. They deserve better. So we'll move on now to the Comedy Central, Perth Glory's men's team. So round 4, 1-0 loss to the Central Coast Mariners. Can we get some initial thoughts across the panel, Josh? We'll get some initial thoughts from you on the game. What you make of it?
Do I speak about the positives or the negatives?
You can balance it out if you like.
To be honest, it's interesting because last week when we played Victory, I think if you look at the stats, we had I think it was the same amount of possession. I think it was
Pretty much
Roughly.
the same kind of position.
similar
Yeah,
stats,
yeah.
but obviously it's Mariners and they're I'd say worse
They're a shitter team.
team.
No offense.
It's frustrating because I think for the whole game we're just like, oh, we're gonna score, and then we didn't, and we dominated them. Like we were always in their final third on attacks, but we just couldn't finish those chances off.
Yep.
And by the end of the game, Alex, I think the whole crowd started getting quieter and quieter every time we're attacking, because they just knew
Yeah,
shots
that's just
for us
frustration.
Converting were 1 in 40.
That was a really interesting thing as well, because normally late in these games when we're chasing, you see the Glory fans surge come on boys, but it's just
It
was so much just cross gone that they were just I can't be asked at this point.
What is our actual conversion rate?
It was 11%, I believe.
Our conversion rate currently
From
this
crosses
season
was 11%.
Oh no, sorry. So crosses, it was we had 5 accurate crosses out of 36.
Oh, 5.
5 out of 36.
5 out of 36.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
So
awful.
we
That
can't-
comes to about
14%.
14.
14, yeah. But the worst thing for me is if you look at our conversion rate in terms of when we're shooting, only Western Sydney have a worse conversion rate than us. Theirs is about 3.2. Ours is about 4%. So this is the thing, and Alex, we'll get your thoughts in a bit. But it's I was you boys saw firsthand. I was filthy at the end of the game, not because we played poorly, but it's it was another game where we had possession and we didn't know what to do with the ball. It just compounds how stupid and how poorly ran we are as a football club. That the point that one of our viewers made about there's still that kind of looming. David Drilich's football and how he coaches the players, that's kind of still looming over the players, even though he's gone, because the habits and behaviours that have been coached by Driller to the players, even though we're seeing a shift under Griffo, we're still we're still wanting to try and get the ball forward as quickly as possible, rather than what we did a couple times where it was no, let's actually try to pass the ball. Let's actually try to take the opposition on rather than whack it forward. Tags can turn into Haaland and hope that he can beat 2-3 defenders. So I'll touch on it more a little bit later, but we dominated the stats. We had more possession. I'm going to sound like an Arsenal fan, but we had a higher field tilt than the Mariners. So in other words, what that meant was
ball in their half more.
we had more. We had the ball in their half more. We had more territory. We had a ridiculously good PPDA, meaning our intensity was excellent. 7.6 to the Mariners, 12.9. We had more high recoveries, obviously more crosses, more corners. So I can't criticise effort. I can't criticise intent. Where I criticise is method. Where I criticise is those details that you then need beyond just fundamentals of, are you running hard towards both boxes? Are you engaging in challenges? Are you trying to create opportunities? So that for me was mostly where my frustration was, where it was fucking typical. And I know that's maybe a little bit of a harsh takeaway because the players were trying for the most part, but it's our best isn't good enough so far, at least. Alex?
I think this is something that we pointed out a lot. I don't know if it made it into my matchday vlog or not, but something that we pointed out a lot throughout the course of the game is that the fundamentals, we do well. We've got a good enough team that we can get the fundamentals right. But the second part of which, that being we've now got the ball.
The detail behind
The
it.
detail into actually creating an attacking transition.
Yep.
Because the shape is fine. I like our defensive shape. I think it's good. But then you look at the finer details of, okay, we're on attacking transition now. What are we doing? Who's finding the space? Who's making what run where? We didn't really see, and this is something that I noticed. We pass nice. We move relatively nice. But no one actually makes runs. I noticed that a lot. Down the right side especially.
Yeah.
No one makes runs.
Yeah.
The left side was relatively good because when you had Despotovsky come across there, and you can tell Despotovsky's got that sort of like youthful exuberance because he's the only one that I saw actually trying to make a run that was a bit unorthodox, maybe trying to find a path that was a bit unorthodox.
Yeah.
We need more of that because everything we do is so incredibly textbook that is predictable.
What do we think about the idea that Perth Glory players don't have any courage on the ball?
I wouldn't say that because
The courage to take those passes that aren't beyond just the stock standard kind of passes.
I wouldn't say that because
in terms of chance creation, in terms of how many we kind of touched on it in the game.
If that were the case,
yeah, the only player I saw taking those risky passes was Despo.
Yeah, and that's my point, because for that pass that he played through to Tags where he just missed it, how many Glory players have we seen, not just this season but in previous seasons, have the courage to play those kinds of passes and just?
But my thing is, every single one of these players in this team we've seen in a different environment has been able to do that kind of stuff.
No, they haven't.
I disagree. I disagree personally. I disagree personally. You look at Lockie Wales when he was playing at Western, and look at the kind of confidence that he was playing with at Western.
It's to do with the kinds of chances that we create, right? So we
get no runners.
No,
we get no runners.
But that's the point, though. It's like there's that side of it where it's player based, but then the broader point is system based, because that point again about Zdrella, where it's like, under Zdrella, how would we attack? Get the ball, fucking boom. Hopefully someone's running in behind, or we can profit off the team being incredibly high and we can counter-attack in behind. There's no method. Griffo's at least trying to go, well, what if we actually try to pass through a team and we can try and have a bit of method to how we play? So I think I don't think it's just on the players, because I think
not at all.
System and behaviours and habits and principles, that's the bigger issue, and that's why when we get towards the end where we discuss the coaching situation, I'm like, if the clubs settle with what they have, we are lacking ambition.
Yeah, but the thing is as well, even more of a point back on my point about runners. You look under Stadge, the best thing about our team was how well we counted.
Correct,
with how quick we could count.
Yes.
That's down to runners. But you look at the midfielders we had then, Amini, Colley, there was no complaint about, they're not adventurous enough with their passes.
Sorry to cut you off, but would you agree, though, Stadge platformed the players from an attacking perspective to play not above their means? It was coded to playing a brand of football that they could do.
It's suited to their means.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing. It wasn't asking for, let's say, because eventually, when we do become a finals team, I don't know if it's this season or next season, we're going to face teams that are going to sit in a block and go, try and break us down. Like even victory at points the previous week, it was like, go on, we'll give you the ball. Yeah. We'll let you have 60% of it even at times. But we couldn't do anything with it. And Josh, I'm keen to hear your thoughts. But I think there's been a big difference between Glory's attack the last year or so, and then what we had in a stage where we've only scored 40 goals in a season twice. 40 goals or more in the last few years since Tony Popovic has left.
The thing is, I'll just touch on this before we hand it over to Josh.
Yep.
But even on the point of runners, again, I'm going to touch on runners.
It's a valid point,
Under
by the way.
Stadge, you get forward with pace, and then you create those gaps by getting forward with pace. Everything is way too slow right now, and that's where you can really tell that Zrilic's whole ideology still lingers. Because you can tell with Griffo, he wants the players to get forward with intensity, but there's no intent to
But also a lack of speed as well. I think we were missing that.
You can say that, but we've got Lockie Wales right now.
Beyond Lockie, though, do you know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
As in, because I think again, when it's easy when you're sitting back, then you can transition. So, Josh, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. It was frustrating. I just felt like, they just, especially like our wingers didn't really get into those opportunities. Just like sprint forward, like I felt like it's hard to explain, like they sort of sat back with the rest of the team, and then by the time they got into the final third box. They were just too focused on trying to like pass around. They just couldn't break them down.
Yeah.
And I feel like obviously it's not a player thing, but when we get Kucharski back, that'll make a big difference because I don't know if you remember like the runs he made.
Yeah.
He was like the only player who I felt
Yeah.
just
Potentially even Kolakovsky as well in January because you look
Steph quick,
please,
hurry
Steph,
up.
please Steph.
We've been asking for weeks now.
But the thing is, under Stadge,
Yeah.
we win the ball back. The intent is go straight away. This is the chance. Go straight away. The intent under this Village team was we've won the ball back. Good.
Get it forward.
What do we do now?
Get it forward as quickly as possible. Like there's no
either hold on to the possession so the other team can't have it, or just get it forward so we don't have to deal with this.
All right.
So you can tell.
I don't know if you remember Jaden Kucharski. He like I know they played a high line, but just like his
intent to get him behind exactly.
Yeah,
and sitting on the last man, he's always doing it.
And again, we'll touch on it a little bit more, but it just comes down to method because this is now a Zdrilic / Stan Lazaridis squad. All this squad practically knows within the confines of Perth Glory is driller ball and driller coaching, and it shows. So the lineup, there weren't too many changes. Tom Lawrence out for concussion, and then we saw Despotovsky come in, but we also saw Shamoon and Risdon swap sides. Funnily enough, they played better.
It's almost like we predicted. Playing the guy who played left back in the entirety of last season at left back
who'd have thought?
would be better than playing the guy who's played 15 years at right back.
What were our thoughts on the lineup? Were we happy with the lineup or?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought it was our best lineup.
Yeah, given what we
could have had. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was nice starting Despo. So.
Yeah. My only question mark was starting Timmins over O'Neill, particularly because I think O'Neill's been very good this season, and he showed a lot of actual intent to try and play some nice balls in behind
and
for Taggart.
I know a lot of fans are frustrated with O'Neill. I don't know him personally. I'm not biased or anything, but I just don't get the hate because I feel like he's playing really well.
But I think Brandon probably he's a, don't get me wrong, he's a great guy. I just think on the pitch fans are like, well, they're probably still they're not going to.
There is 100% there is. And he even acknowledged that when he signed. He even acknowledged that when he signed for the club that he has to repay the faith. And
I think that's probably the thing we need to see, not just more from Brandon, but from all the players in general. And I think when Brandon did come on, you could see he was trying to play those kinds of passes, and I think our technical ceiling as a team in terms of our capacity to play those passes, be it player related or structure related, we are so undercooked in that area. So. We'll touch on the game. So I thought, again, we had a bright start. Despotovsky had a great chance 8 minutes in. So we're just talking about Timmins, and what Timmins is going to bring is a lot of aggression. He's going to bring intensity. He's going to come at you, and he's reasonably technical. So there was that loose ball he had, came down, won it nicely, and then just as he was about to get tackled, slipped it through for Despo. And I think the stadium was like, oh, go on. And then the poor bugger hit it straight at fucking Andrew Redmayne. So that was the shit thing, because it would have been the stadium would have gone absolutely ballistic if
the stadium.
I would have been mental.
I just pray his first goal is at home. I know our next couple games
in front of the shed would be ideal.
I would love for his first goal to be at home in front of the bay in the shed, because the stadium will go crazy up.
It's coming. It's coming. He's getting.
I don't blame him for taking the shot either. I know it was
no. You have to in that situation.
You got to.
Yeah. 18th minute, we had a really good passing sequence that involved your mate, Bozanovsky. His star boy.
My best friend.
It's his star boy. No, I'm joking. So
deservedly so, James.
No.
I called this when I said that he would be one of our best three.
He's playing well, but we'll touch on that.
Golby signed him as well. I know we're like,
my talent ID is unmatched, unlike James Renton.
We'll touch on it soon. So, but yeah, no, it was the passing sequence that we had when, that was the thing, I was expecting Sutton in that moment, because it led to Despo's chance where Taggart headed the ball to him, but I was expecting Sutton to just get the ball and go, right, fuck it, boom, hoofing it long. But funny, when we play, we just stop, have a bit of composure, play through. Both Timmins and Bozza combined really nicely. Eventually, it led to that moment where Caltac, who I thought was much better this game, had that powerful header, boom, tags, flicks it on, and then Despo did well to get around his defender. And then just, I don't know, just that little bit, like, maybe a little bit a lack of conviction in front of goal. He's still finding his feet, so because we're already seeing some positive signs, but I think that next step of just being a bit more assertive in those moments and really attacking it. So
that's the one thing I thought he lacked a little bit, was just maybe a bit of aggression. Because you can tell the intent is there. The intent is there. The intensity is there. He makes runs really nicely. He links up some good passing play. It's just sort of that physicality. Like when he's getting challenged for the ball, I think he just needs to be a little bit more solid. Yeah. And when he goes for the ball, he needs to be a little bit more solid.
Can I just say,
of course,
sorry
yeah.
about,
Of course.
Sutton?
Yes.
I can tell Griffiths has had a word to him, because I thought his distribution around the back was a lot better.
It was a lot.
Well, I think now that they've had a week under Griffo to try and go, well, let's try and be more of a possession-oriented team. I think that's
we have to keep him on long term, man. I'm sorry.
Well, my feeling is that, based on discussions, is that they view Matt Sutton very highly within the
they should do.
So
they should
I think there'll be. It wouldn't surprise me if we try to tie him down to a long-term deal.
Well,
hopefully that can be.
A lot of players, they're waiting to see if we get a good coach or not.
Yeah, probably, and because
that's the big concern.
Still, they want to. I feel like, yes, we have history, but I feel like what makes a big club is your coach.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Yep.
If anything, this is one of the seasons that I'm the most scared of, because not only are we sort of still in the shit performance-wise.
Scared to get heartbroken.
Yeah, no. It's the fact that you look at the players that we have coming off contract at the end of the season. Taggart, Wales, Pennington, Amos.
There's a lot, mate. Yeah.
It's about half the squad.
Yeah.
Half the squad is off contract.
There's one way to trim the hedges, if you like, mate. You know, we've got to get rid of a few of the players, to be fair. I mean, I'm not saying that in a bad way, but it's like the squad is too bloated.
But I'm saying that there are so many players here that are big pieces of this team that either you get in a good replacement or we're going to be shit.
Well,
And one thing as well, one thing that doesn't help is surely our younger players like Labib and Majek, what's the point of not playing them? If we could easily sell them and get a big good fee, because they're good players.
Yeah.
Well, I think Adriano there was very heavy speculation that he's going to go to Salzburg.
But,
so he's
now we're not even playing him.
Well, and I'll touch on Stan a little bit later, but it does come down to squad composition and the specificity with. Why is this player in your team? How does he fit within the team stylistically? Is there a short and long-term plan? I don't think we've really identified that.
Part of our squad bloating is a lot of these younger players aren't getting the moves they should have.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And the thing is as well, as much as I love Brian Kaltak, and I think he'll form an incredible partnership with Scott Wootton for us eventually.
Yeah. I
thought Labib was good enough to at least be a nailed-on starter this year, especially from his performances at the back end of last season.
Yeah.
Look. The injury sucked, obviously terrible.
Yeah.
However, I thought he was good enough to at least have a starting spot.
Yeah, and I think the disappointing thing was he didn't really feature too much over the pre-season.
Even when he did feature, he looked really good,
but consistently.
Yeah, true.
That's probably the thing that didn't help him. So we touched a little bit earlier about our defensive shape. I thought in a block, the players positioned themselves much better in that first half, to the point where Mariners, when they tried to build out, a lot of times we would intercept it and then go bang. So that was positive to see, but I think we need to be far more ruthless. From a behaviour standpoint, when we had... This is the thing. When the Glory players either had composure and passed through, or had that confidence and drove out the Mariners and were a little bit unpredictable, that's when the Mariners backed off and they didn't know what to do. You could see it in terms of how they were defending as a team. And I just think that's what we're really missing going forward. We're too easy of a team to play against, because again, it's our third game in a row that we haven't scored a goal. We haven't scored a goal since the 26th minute of the first game. So I think it was tags. So and that's the thing. We're not getting into those moments where, we're putting teams under serious pressure, even if we have now more of the ball, more territory. So that's something that, regardless of whether it's Griffo or a new coach, that we're going to have to work on in the international break. Any thoughts on the first half?
I just thought that, look...
I thought we played better in the first half than in the second half. I thought we had more energy. We created some decent chances, but...
Yeah.
I don't know. We just could have done better, in my opinion, in terms of our chances we created.
I thought we had some good-looking set pieces as well. I thought Freeney looked really good on set pieces. I thought he looked really good.
He did, but why are we not?
We're not making the most of him, yes, but I think
cashing in. So
we're getting some good deliveries on him, thankfully.
Yeah.
So hopefully something starts coming of those. But look, outside of that, I genuinely I thought he was fine. Just like a standard 6 out of 10.
Yeah, and
6
it's
out of
like
10 first half.
again, we're seeing better moments, but I think you're wanting
Killer
this is
instinct,
this is
man.
this
That's
is
the
this
one
is
thing that
great,
I
but
can
can we do something with it? So for the second half, because Mariners in the first half they had 4 shots. They had none that were on target, and I'm going to touch on this point for Bradman's goal. So because DiPizio had the first one, and then it was literally a minute later that's when Bradman scored. And look, number one, I'm not going to take anything away from it. It was a great goal, but that's the thing. Here's a stat for you boys. So in terms of goals per shot and goals per shot on target, Perth Glory are currently the worst in the A-League by some way. So goals per shot, 0.18. Goals per shot on target, 0.47. So that's the thing. We've done a lot better from a defensive standpoint in terms of stopping shots, but the shots that we do concede are usually worldies or of such a high quality, they usually go in, which is something that we've still got to work on. And it's like the details for Bradman's goal, and then I want to hear your boys' thought. We knew from the first half and even in the second half briefly, the guy's got one move. He wants to cut in on his left foot. There's no doubt they would have worked on that within their shape of if someone's going to cut in, we need the fullback to come in to stop him coming this way, and then we need a winger or a midfielder coming in from the other side to stop that action happening. So Shamoon, who was engaging Bradman, then it was Despo that came over, but I felt
He wasn't tight enough.
it wasn't tight enough, but
And
also
wasn't narrow enough.
dropped
Yeah.
in line with the back four. Needed to stop the shot, but then also there was no pressure from our mids. There was no pressure from our back four. And then as we'll touch on a little bit later,
Space, man.
Mariners showed far more desperation to stop shots, stop anything happening on the goal compared to Perth Glory players. We wanted to win, but we didn't want to win enough. And that was probably the thing where, as we'll touch on a little bit later, I was quite animated when I was speaking to a few of the players at the end. But thoughts on the Bradman goal?
What a goal, man. I'm not going to lie, like, it was a great goal, I'll be honest. Like, I'll respect it, yeah. Yeah. Like,
Good goal.
I don't know what else to say. Like, I'm just disappointed we didn't score it, to be honest.
Yeah. It's such a fucking frustrating.
Eli Adams, I immediately thought of that against
it's such a
from Victory.
frustrating way to lose when you just concede a fucking worldie out of nowhere, bro.
Mm.
It's just the biggest piss take. Because
I got excited. I was like, oh, what a goal. Oh, we didn't score.
Yeah.
oh.
And that's kind of what Griffo touched on in his post game presser. What did he say? He was kind of going, for as much as the goal was a bomb, we worked on stopping shots. We worked on trying to be better with our intensity and concentration. He said, yeah.
For as good as it was, we shouldn't have let it happen.
Yeah, he said the goal was a bomb, but we should have stopped that. There should have been pressure up onto the ball. We work on those things, and that was just a lack of concentration in that transitional moment. Completely agree. And he also said, by the way, in terms of the second half, he said we came out sluggish, naive in terms of our approach. We wanted to play more direct. We wanted to play over. Players started doing things that they shouldn't be doing. Then they got the goal, and that moment changed the game because we had complete control in the first half.
I love listening to Griffo speak because he tells it how it is.
Yeah.
None of this fucking none of this fucking bullshit that we got on.
We're underdone.
Yeah,
We didn't have a proper preseason. Fuck off.
That's so good, man.
Yeah. So Mariners were having more transition moments in the second half. Risdon, I felt, was doing a Herculean effort to stop a lot of them.
Oh
and just
God, yeah.
brick wall, bang, stopping it. Sabit Ngor, is that his name?
Sabit Ngor.
Sorry, Ngor.
Or Ngor.
I don't know how you say it, but there you go. So Risdon I thought did a fantastic job with some of his tackles, and I think there was even a sequence in the second half where he'd had like 2 in a row in quick succession, where it was like bang and bang. So that's the Rizzo we all love and know.
I think there are a few times on his side I was like worried. I was like, oh, this doesn't look good. And
Yep.
just went bang.
He wanted to win, and he was going to do what it took to win. and I wrote this down, 78th minute, and this is the difference. Adam Bulgaria received the ball in a great position, and Lockie Wales was making a fantastic run in behind. And so we talk about the lack of forward runs. That was a great forward run because there was a huge bit of space to exploit. Booger was a bit too slow once he got the ball, and then he could only just toe it out, and it still didn't even make Lockie Wales. And that's the difference. It should be you're scanning, touch, boom. That's what we expect from our number 10, because we're going to, Despo could probably do that. We're going to expect Tom Lawrence to do that. And that's just, the detail that I just think we're lacking.
Yeah.
Complete different, for example, to Quiet and Go, who came on.
And we said at the same time, I think it was about the 60th minute.
Yep.
We said, want to know who we need to sub on right now?
You called it. You called it.
We said it exactly at the same
Qua.
time.
Hey, and how about it?
And when he
How about it? Played pretty well.
I thought the decision to sub Pennington on for Franey was not a smart choice.
Go on.
No, I didn't like the addition of. Look, I love Despo, but at that point in the game, I thought he looked a bit too tired. Putting him at left mid was just a bit too much, and realistically, putting him at left mid was what indirectly led to the Brantman goal, because he wasn't quick enough.
He was
to
gassing
step
up,
out.
yeah.
And look, maybe Quad wouldn't have done a better job. Maybe he would have. Who knows? But I just feel like making that addition swap for swap, I think would have been smarter, especially because Pennington was then put into the 10. I don't think he adjusted too well to it. At least coming straight back on, I don't think he adjusted
That
too well
and playing off the right wing.
Yeah,
I thought that was a bit weird.
I didn't really like it.
Obviously
I didn't really like it.
But I felt like we needed creativity.
I agree with that.
yeah.
But at the same time, I would have much rather had Qua come straight onto that left wing and just start running at people.
And I think Quai had to come on a lot earlier, because no doubt he played with a point to prove, but he had the fans excited. That was the thing. There was a genuine sense of anticipation when he was on the ball, and maybe here and there he was trying a bit too hard, but at least there was intent. He wanted to take on his man. He wanted to try things, and I think for me, come the Newcastle game after the break, he has to be involved in some capacity and be given more of a chance to see what can he do, because he's barely had a look all season, barely had a look all pre-season, played a fucking wing back, which surprises me. But that's the thing. He was flying into tackles. He was trying to make things happen. We had a lot of momentum towards the end, but how many times did Perth Glory players keep crossing the ball from the fucking touchline, and Andrew Redmayne went, sweet, I'll just go down, I'll lie down, take some time. I just think, again, comes down to method, and it comes down to, you can say play decision making, but also we've not worked on attacking sequences well enough, be it against a static block or even in open play when we're transitioning. I just think, I'm not blaming it all on Driller, but evidently we've not worked on those predetermined patterns of play, nor those combinations or runs that you would expect with the quality of players that we have. We should have been working on in the off season. So I think we just looked at it. As the game wore on, it was like we ran out of ideas.
I feel like every team's going to, when they come to Perth, just their tactics going to be score and part of the bus, because there's nothing we can do when they...
They're just clinical, because we saw that with Victory and we saw that with Mariners.
I think there is the potential, though, once the squad's at full fitness. But my issue is, I don't think our squad composition, as big as the squad is, the composition of the squad is shit. Because realistically, when Sutton is out, who is a like-for-like replacement at left back? You don't really have one.
Christian Palella would have been a good replacement.
He would have been. He would have been if he didn't.
I'm just saying.
He would have been. But when Sutton's out, the closest thing you have to a like-for-like is Zach Lizalewski, who's naturally a centre back.
Yeah.
Exactly. When Lockie Wales is out, who's the most like-for-like replacement you have for him? You don't really have one.
Joel or Qua, but then Joel's Achilles.
Joel's injured, and Qua is about a half a foot shorter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're not getting it.
You don't have enough like-for-like replacements for your star players.
As well, isn't he?
Yeah. But even then, Osler is not even close to...
We've also discussed this as well. It's also, if you're going to have a big squad, you need to have far more profile variance in the sense of what your players can offer, let's say, because I don't think we have enough technical players that can constantly create.
That's fair. But
because I think there's going to be a lot of a burden on Tom when he comes back, Tom Lawrence, Sam Sutton when he comes back, and it's just going to be almost this kind of unsustainable reliance to the point where it's like, give the ball to, years ago, give the ball to Castro, he'll do everything. Because I think it'll also come down to system, where it's like, how much are we going to be able to change over the next few weeks if Griffo is to be given the job till the end of the season? But
even when you look at those teams under Popper, it's not just Castro. You look at Juande, Kilkenny,
but under Kenny in particular.
Well, under Kenny in particular, yeah.
Or then later on under Gas.
If I'm being honest, after that loss, I don't know if Griffo might struggle to get the main job after that.
Well,
it might not be his choice, mate.
were there any
But like, I think by the international break, I think they'll want to have a head coach.
Do we have any final thoughts on the game?
Just missed opportunity, man. Another missed opportunity. We should have got something out of it. We didn't. It's on us.
Yeah.
Game we should have won.
Yeah.
The most frustrating ones to lose as well. It's just games that you should have won.
Yeah, and as I kind of alluded to before, we caught up with Scott Wooden at the end of the game. I was quite
with a few players.
We caught up with quite a few. I do apologise. I was quite animated, and probably a little bit too intense at the end of the game. But I was
just if any of you are ever hoping that we're going to get a player on this podcast, if it never happens, it's because of James. I was
a bit too animated. But that's the thing. Weirdly, we played well, but that was the game where I kind of lost it. I was frazzled. I was almost possessed, and probably a little bit. So I do apologise. Thanks for Scott for putting up with my shit for 2 games in a row now. But but I just think it was such a missed opportunity, and I think you could also there's the angle of if we have everyone fit and ready to go, could we have won that game? Perhaps. But then my follow-up question would be, okay, sustainability when we play against tougher teams, especially away from home. So that's going to be something that we need to work on.
Just touch as well, because I thought with Mariners the outcome of that game would be different, but we played this pretty much the same as we did against Victory, which is weird because Victory are a better team. I know we lost 2-0, but I still feel like Mariners we would have had more chances than we did.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's a classic glory game over the years where even under Zadkovic, where how many times did we have a game where we had lots of the ball but did fuck all with it? Exactly. Nothing compelling. Like maybe we'd have shots.
Once again, it goes back on the point of culture though. We play against an easier team.
Yeah.
And we produce the exact same football as we do against a team that dominates us.
Yeah.
Like there's no This is even similar to what I said back when Graham Arnold was the head coach of he doesn't know how to be anything but an underdog in terms of the coach of the Australian national team. You watch every game, whether we're playing against France or whether we're playing against fucking Oman.
Yeah.
And he goes out there with the same dog shit tactics of let's defend and then break on the counter and then go back into our low block.
But to be fair, he did fairly well with the Sydney FC team.
He did, but that's because Sydney are a big dog team. He has the idea of Sydney being a big dog team. He can work with his players. He can do what he wants. He can take control of it from the ground up. With the Australian national team, you can't do it.
That will be an interesting thing to eventually see with who we go with as the head coach for the rest of the season, because that'll define from an identity perspective what are we going to be moving forward.
Yeah.
So we'll touch on the player ratings. They were far more generous this time around, and Alex was jumping up and down when I said who the man of the match was.
You need to stop this, bro. You need to stop this.
I'm going to keep winding you up until there's no tomorrow. Mate, the day Bozanovsky scores, I'm never going to hear from it. But yeah, Reece Bozanovsky with 48% of the vote. He was the man of the match, followed by Risdon Wales and Quiet and Go tied at second. So I thought that was interesting. So, Matt Sutton, you guys gave him a 6. We gave him a 6.3. Shabel Shamoon, you guys gave him a 6.1. We gave him a 5.5. Scott Wooten, you guys gave him a 5.9. We gave him a 6.5. Brian Kaltak, you guys gave him a 5.9. We gave him a 6. Much better performance from Brian. Good to see him be a little bit more confident. Rizzo, 5.8 was your rating. We gave him a 6.1. Reece Bozanovsky, you guys gave him a 6.9. We gave him a 7.8. Cal Timmins
is great, man.
Cal Timmins, you guys gave him a 5.6. We gave him a 5.5. Wolfrani, 5.4 you guys gave him, and we gave him a 5.3. Lockie Wells, you guys gave him a 6.2. We gave him a 6. Adam Taggart, you guys gave him a 5.4. We gave him a 5. Seb Despotovsky, you guys gave him a 4.9. We gave him a 5.1. Nick Pennington, you guys gave him a 5.2. We gave him a 5.5. quiet and go. This one was pretty interesting. You guys gave him a 6.4. We gave him a 6.5. Adam Bulgaria, you guys gave him a 4.5. We gave him a 3.8. Brandon O'Neill, you guys gave him a 5.1. We gave him a 6. Do we agree with those ratings?
Yeah.
Overall?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's fair.
Bozanovsky, yeah.
I'll stop.
Yeah, no.
Hey, look. If you wanna criticize me for it, do it when he has a bad performance.
But he. Because look, I'll put my hand up. I did say at the time, I was like, why'd we sign him? And I think now that he's been having to play all the games because we've had basically all our what would be in theory our starting midfield out. I've never doubted him being a good player. I was just more so about what's he going to provide that's different to what Amos and Pennington.
No,
I was criticising his passing range at the game.
And then he hits some beautiful ball over the top. Over the top.
I want to see, but I want to see.
Well, if the pass was better, Taggart would have scored.
I did say that, and I'm not going to shirk from that. I did say that, and I want to see more from our midfielders and our wingers and players in general with their passing range. I don't think we've been passing as a team well enough. But if we have a structure that allows for more of those passing sequences, where Bozanovsky, for example, when he was receiving under pressure, play those vertical passes forward. I
haven't seen you hate watch anyone this hard since Gio Colli.
It was not a hate watch, for God's sake.
Every pass or action that Bozza does, if he makes the slightest mistake, is Alex, that's your star boy. That's the wind you up, you dickhead. No, but so we may as well touch on it because Josh, we're thinking of talking points, and I think the big one was what is the plan if results don't improve? Look. With the coaching situation,
I still think you've got to keep Griffo.
I do too.
You've got to keep him, but we need a big fish. We need a big coach with aura about him.
Aura.
No, we need
you do, yeah.
If
the players look up to and respect.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying that, like, I still think the players care and they're giving a good crack, but I still don't think they're giving it their 100%. I think mentally they're limited, if that makes sense.
Well, Griffo kind of talked about it at the end of the game where he was saying, like, there's this big kind of heavy presence or heavy feeling that's among the players, and it goes back to your point about culture where it's like we're so used to losing, we're so used to these performances where we can't have confidence when we play consistently, and I think that was very clear.
I feel like now a loss should be, and I know this sounds silly, but it should be absolutely unacceptable, and now I feel like it's acceptable.
Well, I think we're now at that point where, and it's like the fans reacted to this game differently, I think, because I was having some chats with a few people, and they were like, "Oh, well, you can see strides, you can see improvement, you can see some green shoots," and I don't want to shit on those fans for having those views because sometimes you need to try to take the positives when it's been as crap as it has been. But I'm like, well, I can't buy that after 5 years of shit.
Yeah.
That keeping 57% of the ball is seen as now a fantastic achievement because of the crap that we've endured before. That's now, that's fantastic.
James, I mean, we are watching more, better representation of football. Like the past 14 months, we've been watching.
Okay, and this is why you freaking bloody morons for keeping David Drilic on when you did. I'm talking to the club hierarchy now because they thought they knew best when the decision should have been made to shake his hand and say we've got to go in a different direction. We've got to formulate. That's the thing. If they wanted to keep his Driller, they had to present a far more compelling case in terms of what we've seen specifically in training, how he is with the players, where his game model is at. I can guarantee there was not a proper assessment of his game model. We didn't use the numbers well enough because every number, everything, tactically, whatever, was red flag. And then all of a sudden, I might have to cut this out, this analogy, but it's like for some reason Perth Glory's board, ever since the new ownership group, it's like a guy with Alzheimer's walking through a brothel, constantly confused why he keeps getting screwed all the time. The decision to keep David Drilic, they wonder why they decided to keep him, and then it's like it all goes to shit, right? We all saw this coming. They're constantly confused, going, "What do you mean? Why did this happen?" We all saw this coming in pre-season, to the point where it's like We probably didn't see the extreme of a 9-0 against Milan, but it didn't shock us. Losing to Wellington on penalties, losing all of our A-League games in the preseason. We saw this coming. It's like, hey, what's happening here? And it's in that position now where it's like, well, we've now recruited the team. So if we want to try and get a big fish is going to go, well, you guys have fucked around for far too long. I want more cash. I want to bring my own guys in. I might be a bit abrasive and a bit intense. And then we've gone, whoa. We're not having that, buddy. So I think we've sold ourselves short. And the fact is, I commended Anthony Radic and Stan Lazaridis for wanting a big name, well-credentialed coach. I think those were the words that they used specifically.
And I think
how likely are we to actually get one now that John Aloisi said no?
That are available, like Nick, Paddy, they've got reputations they want to rebuild, and coming to Perth isn't the safest option.
It's a poison chalice. It's a poison chalice. It's like it's almost, and I hate saying this about our club, but it's the reality, right? It's where you want to go if you want to kill your career.
Exactly.
Because we as a football club, we would be more than happy to say, we want to do this, we want to do that, back us. That's the thing. And that's probably a bit of a gripe that I have with Stan, where it's like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, you're going to see this, you're going to see that. And it's almost like that guy in a pub that has a few beers and yells shit out, and you go, oh, that sounds good. And it sounds good on face value because it is. But it's quite hollow because it's like, okay, now how is this all going to work? Because that was the thing with Stan signings. It's like, we have made some good signings, or when we brought in Drella, it was like, well, that sounds pretty exciting. But then the practical question is, well, how's it going to work? And what we've seen for the last 12 months has been shit. So now that when Adam Griffiths takes over, there's 14 months pretty much of behaviours, habits, structures, things that they've almost been coded into, because this is a David Drella, Stan Lazaridis squad, that even if you do bring in a top coach, it's going to take time. And even when we have these new players coming back in, Suts and JK and Tom Lawrence, it's almost going to be, I'd hate to have them to play with that much of a burden to have to hit the ground running. Even though I was sort of talking about that with Scotty Wooden at the end, because he was like, keep the faith. We're going to get better. We will improve. We feel your frustration. Because it came out as we were talking to him. He's like, fuck. How many more chances do we need to try and score a goal? Because it was like we need to move heaven and earth. Meanwhile, other teams, one shot, boom. Yeah. Meanwhile, we've had one of the worst conversion rates. Our XG has been crap. And it's just, even we discussed it with tags, it's just, you just get that feeling where the poor guy's frustrated. Is he really getting enough support?
I said to Wooden, like I said, I feel bad for you players, because I can't imagine how frustrating it would be.
Oh, they'd be kicking chairs, because it's like this is just what we are as a football club,
as an institution.
And that's the thing. Until we decide to get serious, and until we decide to have people that can run the club with the right level of integrity and the right capabilities, and their decision making is informed and balanced, I can't trust these guys.
A quick rumour that's going around from that guy who replied to our post about
Anastasiadis.
Yeah.
There was so
prove me wrong, but I think we need a bigger fish than that.
100%.
Yeah, I agree.
The thing is, you make a good point on that earlier, James, saying that the move to glory is career suicide for anyone that wants it.
Well, it is.
The thing is, right, is that the only value that the Perth coaching position has now is for a manager who wants like a shotgun start to their career. Because if you can go to the glory right now in their current situation and you can get something out of it, like you can make this team get finals or something, you will automatically be, considered a relatively good level coach.
Yeah.
But if you're already considered a relatively good level coach, why the hell would you take the risk? Why would you take the chance? There's no chance that an Aloisi or a Kisnorba who has, intention of coaching in Europe, or Montgomery who has intention of coaching in Europe, any self-respecting, decent level Australian coach who has intention of coaching in Europe or at a good European level, there is no reason for them to accept the glory job because it's just not worth it. Why would you take the risk on working with a club that has sacked how many managers in the last 2 years? Four or five?
We've gone through four managers and Ross Pelligra himself has now gone through two.
Exactly.
In the space of
and we're likely to go through another one if we get another one after Griffo.
Yeah.
Because Why would you bother doing that when you have an owner who says himself that he's not a football guy? You have a director of football who is clueless when it comes to squad composition and chats out of his ass. You have a CEO in Bon Tempo. He's the
vice chairman. Who we didn't hear from until that fucking tweet.
Yeah, you have a vice chairman who was invisible for a year and a half,
Yep.
and then when he has come out, has said incredibly stupid things on public forums.
Yeah.
You have physios that are performing the worst in the league, maybe outside of Melbourne
We
City.
have one of the highest injury lists out of any team in the A-League.
From top to bottom, this team... this club, not this team. This club sucks from top to bottom.
Gotta say it.
Why would you, if you're a self-respecting coach, come in and take the chance when you could easily go to a bigger club?
Yep.
Or you could easily
wait.
hold out.
You can wait because
there'll
be clubs
for
in
a
the
better
A-League.
option.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
We're so unattractive right now.
Stan said that we had 20 applicants. That doesn't surprise me. I don't think we had 20 applicants. He went to 20 coaches and they all said no.
Yeah,
Well, how many?
we had 20 applicants.
How many of
I
those?
put the job listing out on
but-
Seek
but
and we had 20 applicants.
What if those applicants were mostly, let's say, NPL coaches that, or
100% they would have been.
or bummy international coaches who fucking no one would want to touch them. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm desperate to get back in. And this is the thing about the current situation with the head coach, because Matthias raised a great point about, you know, if we fuck up the next appointment, we're not going to get crowds of over 5,000. It's like there's already fatigue among the fan base. Like when I was coming back for the second half, you know, there was a guy that was, you know, coming out of the toilet and was kind of muttering to himself because the MC was going and they were starting up the second half again, and he was like, "Fucking hell, Glory, pull your fucking finger out of your ass." And it's like there's that kind of that negativity and that kind of fatigue where even if they go with Griffo, which pending ultimately what the circumstances are when they eventually reveal to the public what their process was, it won't be a terrible decision, but it's also kind of that false economy kind of idea where it's like, oh, if we save money now with Griffo, in theory things will be better. Well, no, because you're going to be in that position where you're going to have to eventually spend more, be it in terms of players and staff and whatever.
We're going to do a worldwide search for our next big coach.
That's perfect.
We've got one in our backyard.
That's glory though. Like it's irrespective of who the owner is. Worldwide search. Oh,
I forgot to tell you guys this, right?
Yeah.
So when I was on my way back from the game on Friday night, it's about 11:30. Going back through Northbridge. Okay. Walking to the Perth Busport, and there's just a group of lads, lads out on a night out. I'm not even joking. Group of like 15 of them on a night out, and they're walking across the street.
They see your glory shirt,
and I'm next to them, and they see a glory shirt, and then one of them goes, "Hey guys, look at this! Way glory, yeah!" And I turn, I'm like, give him a thumbs up, and he's just like, "Your club is shit, bro." And I turned to him, I'm like, "I know, don't worry.
Thanks for the reminder.
I know, we lost again. We lost again tonight."
Yeah, it's so funny when I come home and then all my family "Oh, how was the glory? How did they go? They lost."
My dad does the same thing.
But are they shocked?
My
Are they
dad,
shocked?
No, even my mates. "Oh, how did the glory go on Friday? You didn't go for drinks with me, but because you went to the glory, they lost."
my dad,
Tell him he's shocked.
My dad, when I walked in the house on Friday night, before I left, he asked me, "Do you reckon the glory will win?" I said, "Honestly, I don't know. We're playing the Mariners. On paper, they're probably one of the worst teams in the league. We should win. I hope we win, but I don't know." I walk back into the house, all right? I pass him in the hallway.
Yeah.
First thing he says is, "How'd the glory go? Did they lose?" He didn't even have to check the result. He said, "How did the glory go? Did they lose?" And I said, "We played the worst team in the league." He said, "So they lost?" And I said, "Yeah."
But this is we've got to get rid of this. I'm going to sound like rude.
I said to him, "You know what that makes us?" And he says, "What does it make you?" And I said, "The worst team in the league."
Yeah,
that's what it makes us.
Well, we have to get rid of this perception about the club. And it's obviously going to take time, but I hate what we are at this moment.
We put ourselves in this situation though.
We have, but that's
it's not just Ross though. We put under Sagey, the back end of Sagey.
Yeah, of course.
We've been putting ourselves in this situation for 5 years.
But in particular, where we are right now in terms of the accumulation of poor decisions, the people at the top put us in this position.
Yeah.
Like for as much as the players performed poorly last season and they've been okay this season, but there's not been a lot to go. Well, if things get sorted, we're gonna make the finals.
Bring in a big coach. Let's say we bring in PK,
right?
And the results aren't not instantly, but let's say by the end of the season we finish spoon or ninth again, whatever. I'm just worried. What do we do from there? I feel like as an owner, Ross, he will look at it and go, what do I do?
You know what he will do? When Ross loses faith, he will sell the club.
Yeah.
He will sell the club when he loses faith. And that's the problem, is that we're genuinely at a point where I think that it's more likely that Ross will lose faith and sell the club rather than we will get back to the top 6. I think Ross will sell the club before we get back to the top 6.
Yeah.
And that is the shit thing, because any owner,
it's a risk.
any owner who actually cares about the club will look at the shit job that some of these people are doing and say, piss off out of my club. He'll take the hit financially and he'll say, piss off. He'll do his due diligence and then he will get it
Either
right.
way.
But the problem is, Ross doesn't want to do due diligence. Ross doesn't even care enough to actually present himself at the club, apart from the once-a-year photo shoot.
So Ross was there to his credit. He was there for the game.
He was there at the game, but he wasn't present. He wasn't present.
But he's also not the kind of person though to kind of. He's. I mean, like. I want to be careful, but he's not.
His transparency.
Yeah, of course, but it's like he would. We were kind of like in the members' lounge, just like it wouldn't have been great if Ross came in and was like saying, "Hi, how are you? You know, I'm Ross." You know, trying to introduce himself. Or if it's not Ross, why not Jason? Yeah. Why not Bontempo?
I've seen Bontempo in person even less than I've seen Ross.
I think this season is critical more than people realise. Call this dramatic or you want.
It's not.
Ross, they have to get this right, because think of how much money Ross has invested into this club already. He's just pouring out.
Or how much he's pissed up the wall.
It's going to get to a point, like you said earlier, that he goes, what's the point? Maybe this is too much for me. It's a losing asset. It's losing too much money. I need to sell the club. But who buys us? Genuinely, if we don't get things right, I could genuinely see us folding.
No, I genuinely could.
Well, but this is the thing. It's like my hope now is that maybe it's me being naive, but it's like Ross has to get serious, and we've got to have a in the sense of we need to have, and I mentioned this on previous podcasts, even this season, we need to be having an independent review of our operations, because if someone from the club says everything is working all hunky dory, everything is good, I'll say bullshit.
Jason,
you don't even need.
I genuinely can't see Ross going, I'm going to sack Jason and Stan.
No,
it'd be easier for him to just sell the club.
Well, he probably, but it's like we need to. We at the very least, the fans. We've been crying out for accountability and transparency. Those have been the two words that fans have been saying. At least the fans are engaged enough. We're not in that apathy stage just yet. Once we get to that apathy stage, then we're fucked. Now we still got fans at the very least that are rocking up. I didn't really think
for long.
But that's the thing. But that's, and it comes back to that point from Matthias, where it's like, how long are they going to put up with this shit? So, if the club, and this is the thing about it having a top coach, for example, I know people don't like PK. That's fine. There are valid points against not having someone like PK, but he's very intense, has high standards. If the club truly believe that they want to bring in a head coach that's not going to have high standards, or is going to be reasonably intense in some way, or might be a bit of a bastard in ways, then they're fucking dreaming. We need to, and this is the thing, again, we've got to have some accountability and transparency, because right now, my attention is directed towards the likes of Stan and the likes of Jason, because at this point in time, Will made a great point and you made a great point on the previous pod, there's multiple heads of the snake. Sacking David Drulich hasn't really done shit. And it can't just be, he's our problems, so we sacked him after 2 games, which in terms of optics looks terrible for the club, by the way. But
I genuinely believe PK is still our best option. And look, if we put him on a 3-year deal when he leaves after 1, I'm still fine with that, because we can't afford to finish last again.
No, and I think we need to show this club, particularly under the new ownership group, has done a fantastic job of overselling and under-delivering. So it's going to... I agree. I think the club... Look, Ben Smith wrote an article following the game and he said, look, the club expect to have, or they hope to have a new coach in by the end of next week. Look, we'll see.
It's not a big name. That's just disappointing.
Look, here's the thing, is that you can't... If you're in a body of water with a shark, right? And you think, if I pull out the teeth of this shark, it's not gonna come after me. It's not gonna bite me.
Yeah.
Sharks grow new teeth.
Mm-hmm.
If it loses a tooth, it grows its teeth back. If you pull the teeth out and you stay in the water with the shark, it will come back after you and it will bite you at a later time.
Yeah.
You have to kill the shark to alleviate the danger. So why are we sticking with this whole thing of, the manager's not working, we'll just change the manager? No.
Or we'll sign new
operations
players.
From the top, the operations are shit. We need to make changes at the top.
Open heart surgery.
We need that open heart octuple bypass surgery because it's not working, man. And the thing is as well, I know we already touched on this saying it'll be easy for Ross to sell the club, and I completely agree, Josh. That was a great point. The only possible way I can see the club surviving if Ross decides to leave is we become part of some multi-club ownership group, and even that is a huge risk because you saw how it worked with City, but you saw how it worked with the Victory.
But this is
that went to shit.
But this
with
is
the 777.
But this is the big thing about, and to try and wrap this all up in that, just look at Catania. Catania, if I'm not wrong, I think they're second.
They're second under Salernitana, and they beat Salernitana,
and they're 1 point below, right?
Yes, because they just beat them.
So,
away from home, top of the table class.
Yeah. So, look at them. Look at their, and it's not all down to a head coach, but it just shows that you need to have competent people that actually understand what they need to do to get their club to the very top. Because they've got, they've got Toscano and they've got Grella. Grella understands the Italian football scene. He's been involved in football for a long time, and you've got Toscano, who's a serial winner within the context of promotion from Serie C to Serie B.
And then you mix that with proper signings. They've got some fantastic names in. And this is the season after losing the likes of Roberto Inglese, losing Stefano Sturaro, losing some really good players. But they've brought in top talent. They've brought in experienced players that know what they're doing. Ciccarelli being the main one. You look at the fact that they've made really good signings, informed decisions on signings. They've done their due diligence. And more importantly, they've stayed interactive with their fan base. I know their fan base is pissed at Ross.
They've brought them back.
Exactly. They've brought them back. Ross managed to piss them off with the whole 1 million thing. That's sort of
and he's now bought them their training facilities.
Exactly. He's now done his due diligence and he's done what's right. He's made up for it by investing properly in facilities. And the thing is, as a Sicilian, I know this.
Yeah.
There is no money in Southern Italian football, especially in Sicilian football. In terms of the biggest things that have happened in Sicilian football since the 2010s, I'd say, in terms of investment, the CFG buying Palermo and probably Ross Pellegra buying Catania.
Wow.
They're not on the same level because the CFG buying Palermo has single-handedly, I'd say, saved Sicilian football. Single-handedly. Because the investment that has gone into the facilities in Palermo have their own academy. They have their own facilities. For the first time ever, they have their own privately owned equities that they're able to actually, use properly. Their own facilities, their own gyms, their own proper designated scouting stuff and everything. This is stuff that's revolutionary for Sicilian football. Well, and now it's happening at Catania as well. So we know for a fact that Ross knows. He knows that with the right people in place, you can get things done. And with investment spent in the right areas, you can see improvement, which makes me wonder why
we're persisting with what we have.
He's investing so incredibly well in Catania, but investing so incredibly poor here. And my one thing is that you look at the two people that are running the people that are running Catania and the people that are running Glory. You go to Catania, you have Grella, who's proven he's got very good value. As a
he's their vice chairman, CEO.
Vice chairman. He's got very good value as a vice chairman and as a head overseer. And you got Domenico Toscano, who's a phenomenal coach.
Top coach.
Then you look at the Glory. You have
Stan Lazaridis
and Jason Bontempo. Who are they're about as structurally competent as a wet paper bag. And you have David Zrilic, essentially, for the last year.
That's the thing.
A first-time head coach, a first-time vice chairman, and a first-time director of football.
As much money as he wants, but he's just not. He needs to invest in the right people.
Yeah, you're not.
If you're building $1 billion building, you don't give the job to someone who's never built a building before.
And you need
give the job to someone who knows how to build.
You need to build it with much better structural integrity so that you've got a proper foundation. And clearly, as a club, this is the thing.
You don't build Trump Towers with someone who builds mud huts. I'm sorry.
And I've said this to Glory officials in the past. I'm like, because this squad that we have, I can criticize X, Y, and Z about it being mostly too bloated and a lack of profile variance. But the starting 11 that we have, we've all agreed it can be up there, right? If it clicks. But my big thing is and I've said this to Glory officials, I've gone, well, we've just wasted a pre-season. We've wasted time, and now we've wasted it this season to the point where, at the very minimum, even the players agreed with this, we should be coming out of this period, first 4 games, with 6 points on the board. Instead of coming out with 1. Even, if you want to delve into expected points, XG and all that sort of thing, we should be coming away from this period with at least 4 or 5 points. Yeah, we've got one. So we're underperforming quite significantly, and I think the club you're gonna have to take a financial hit either way, just to kind of wrap things up. We cannot be sitting here this time next week, in my view, unless things are seriously dying. We've been rejected by pretty much everyone.
Exactly.
With Griffo taking the job. It's not the end of the world, but I think we're seeing the same patterns and tendencies from this ownership group and from the people that have been put in by this ownership group.
You're gonna have to put up
that we've seen for well over a year.
You're gonna have to get surgery regardless. If you have an infected, let's say, I won't say cancer because I always refer to this club.
But if you have like
if you have let's say you have,
you need open heart surgery either way.
Either way, if you have, let's say, like a problem with your tooth or something, you got an infected tooth, root canal, whatever. You can leave it as long as you want. But the longer you leave it, it's going to cause more pain, more pain, more pain, more pain.
You're going to have to do it.
And then end result
Exactly.
is either you cut the fucking thing out or it's going to just spread to the rest of your teeth.
Yeah.
And either then it does more damage or it just keeps causing pain.
Correct.
So you have to get it done.
Yep.
If it's not working, get rid of it.
Yep.
We can't sit here and say, oh, well, Bontempo and Stan have been shit for this long, but maybe we'll get better.
Yep.
No, man. If you've had over a year, look, a lot of people can say, oh, Stan's done well. He's done well signing the starting 11. The squad itself, the composition is shit.
And his remit as a football director must be coming into question now.
Exactly.
It just has to be.
He's not a man of his word, as we've seen. He makes false promises.
Well, he
can't hold himself accountable.
Okay, he has positive intent. I will say that, having spent time with
positive
Sam.
Intent for
Hold it. No, yeah, so positive intent, but the actual ability to create a functioning and cohesive structure and have sound, proper reasoning behind decisions is just not there. So, look,
just real quick.
Yep.
So after the international break, the Newcastle game, we should have a full squad. I believe
we should do
near a full squad.
Basically a full squad. Yeah.
Basically a full squad. If they decide to back Griffiths,
hopefully he can do well.
Hopefully with that full squad. If he can't, then
I think a big indicator is going to be when we get Sam Sutton back, because he spoke at the members lounge and he said he'll be back round 6 or 7. So.
Shut up.
But I spoke personally to JK and he said that he should be back for the Newcastle game on the bench. He said.
Yeah, well, at least
he should be back.
They'll look to ease him in.
Trenny's coming back as well soon. Hopefully,
Tom will be back.
Amos should be back soon. Yeah. Tom Lawrence hopefully back next game. Should be back next game, and Sutton by round 6.
December. So we'll see how things go. Alrighty. So. Another extended episode. We'll wrap things up there.
Oh, we're wrapping it up already. Oh my god! I still have energy, man. I'm still ready to go.
So,
let me just say this. All right.
Yeah. Last point. Yeah.
Our big problem right now, I think we can all agree, it's not on the players specifically.
No.
It's not on Griffo because he's not been here at the head coach.
He's not been here that long. No.
Our big problem right now is on the board. It is the board of this club. It's not even Ross at this stage. It is the board of this club. And I'd say Ross's indecisiveness when it comes to
misplaced loyalty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've essentially, to Stan and Bontempo, we can 100%, and I think it's absolutely fair and vital that we judge them on their shortcomings and their promises that they have not kept. Because they've essentially, what they've done is they've gone to, let's say Perth Glory is a house.
Right.
It's a nice little house. Yep. You got a family comfortably living in it day to day. Absolutely fine. There's no problems. Nothing wrong. They've come along with a bulldozer. They've ripped the shit out of the house, torn it down, said, don't worry, we're going to build you a 2-story house with more space, a beautiful back garden, everything like that, water fountain in the backyard, everything.
Yep.
And then they've gotten halfway through building the house and then remembered, oh shit, I don't know how to build a house. So now we're stuck with an unfinished house. The family has nowhere to go. And what are we going to do from here? Are we then going to acknowledge that we've wasted money on this house and get new people in to finish the house, or are we gonna hope that Stan and Jason just learn how to build a house out of nowhere? They wake up one day and then Stan's like, oh shit, that's how I become a director of football.
Look, I just think at the end of the day, I encourage both Jason and Stan to challenge the criticisms from fans, or if they disagree with what we've said in this podcast, I encourage them to come out publicly and challenge the record that's been presented to them and explain why, their decision making is the best for Either way, it'll be a very intriguing next few weeks ahead. We've got the international break coming up. Alex and Will, they're going to be...
We will be in Newcastle and Macarthur.
They will be.
We might do like a little segment or something. We're going to the Newcastle Macarthur game. Huh?
Where's my invite?
You can't afford it because you're broke.
No.
Dork.
No, but
Stop taking all those fucking trips to Europe.
No, but it's
We're gonna win anyway.
Oh,
yeah. So
I've never been to a Glory game.
So what we will try and do is we'll try and get some guests on over the next few weeks. We'll try and have some new faces jump on in the meantime.
Next week, ladies and gentlemen, today we're joined by Stan Lazaridis.
He's like, I'll join if Alex isn't here. No, but it's been another extended episode. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. We'll try and get an episode out next week.
We will do our best because there's not really too much to talk about during the international breaks and stuff like that. But if we can find either some good guests or some good talking points on the next week, maybe we get a new coach announced, then we will come back with another episode. But we'll keep you all updated on our Instagram and Twitter.
Yep.
So make sure
TikTok, make sure to follow that
TikTok
as well.
Make sure you follow
Popping
that
off there.
Just keep an eye on our social platforms, and we'll update you guys on any future episodes, uploads, or any guests that might be coming on. But once again, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Glory Days podcast. Maybe next time, hopefully after the international break, we can come back with some positive vibes.
Fingers crossed.
I've been saying that pretty much every episode for the last 41 episodes, but you know what? We can always hope and keep faith because, we have nothing better to do.
The players are watching, keep your heads up.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Just
get a win against Newcastle.
Absolutely. We have full faith.
We need it. We need it.
Tags and Woods as captains. Keep your heads up, boys. Keep the group going strong. Any lads that are struggling right now, keep your heads up. Keep going strong. Reece Bosnovsky, please give me a shirt in Newcastle. Look,
such a glazing.
In all seriousness, keep your heads up, boys. We really need to. We really need to see you.
Shout out to Scott Wooden for taking the time to engage
Scott
with
Wooden,
us.
Lucky Wales. Riley Fox, pleasure meeting you as well. And
we'll see how things go.
Apologies for letting James grill you for 10 minutes when you've only been here for 3 weeks.
Yeah. No, but welcome to the new boys that have joined, and we'll see how things go after the international break.
Subscribe as well.